One more time. Warm up those tires. Hit your marks and let's go racing, boys and girls. NASCAR, Indycar, Formula One, and Formula E racing talk. This is the fastest hour in radio.
He's going to do it. He's going to win the race and the NASCAR Sprint Cup Championship. California's Kevin Harvick does it. Holy cow! Chase Elliott is going to become the NASCAR Nationwide Series champion for 2014. Are you kidding me? Yes!
For the second in a row, Matt Crafton is the Camping World Truck Series champion.
3 times he has been denied an IndyCar championship. Well, not anymore. Will Power is an IndyCar champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, our 2014 FIA Formula One World Champion, Lewis Hamilton.
Here's your host, Steve West and Justin Harmer.
As I just shared on our shared Facebook page post.
Yeah.
By the way, facebook.com/thefastesthour in radio, which we also have Twitter, Instagram, and I don't know what else.
We have so many ways that you can reach out and get in touch with us at the show and follow along. You got us on Twitter @FastestHour, Instagram @FastestHour, YouTube.com/ there's a bunch of numbers. So just go search The Fastest Hour in Radio, and you'll find all of our shows there.
Okay. You put the promo up there. We weren't able to do a video promo because the East Coast is kind of messed up, obviously.
Yeah.
So not a whole lot of time to do a video promo because the roads, mostly bridges in and around central Alabama where we are, kind of a little messed up, which wouldn't be so bad if it weren't for all the people that don't know how to drive on it. For people like John, who comes from northwestern Alabama, who got things earlier, he decided that, you know what, I'm not going to even chance it this morning. He came down here yesterday, so kudos to him.
Yes, thank you, John.
I could drive in snow, no problem. Ice is a different matter entirely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that Ford Fusion in front of me this morning couldn't drive even if the roads were dry.
I think the key word there would be Ford.
Yeah, Ford. Ford is it. So if you have a Ford, stay home.
That sounds good to me.
All right, so all of that to say that when you wrote the promo instead of doing the video, I got to thinking about it. There's kind of some equals here. Because if you think about it, the very first time that any network showed a race live in its entirety was 1979 Daytona 500.
Everything goes back to that.
And the East Coast was sucked in due to a blizzard.
Yeah.
Guess what?
I wasn't around.
Guess what? The East Coast is socked in due to a blizzard. What else are you going to do?
Yeah, no,
you tune into the fastest hour in radio.
That's right. There's 30 inches. I was telling you before the show, 30 inches in my hometown back up in Maryland.
And my immediate response to that was, aren't you glad you don't live there anymore?
You darn Skippy.
We talked to Ryan yesterday. Ryan was expecting a lot up in the Baltimore area. So
yeah, hey, Ryan, get out while you can.
I'm telling him he needs to be here. He keeps, I don't know, shuffling his feet or something. Now he's going to get his feet stuck in a blizzard.
Yeah.
Really not a whole lot of on-track or specific racing action, although it was media weeks for NASCAR. We're going to get to the Chili Bowl in a second, but I do want to mention this because as far as NASCAR, media days for the past, 6 years, I think, has been followed by the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Mm-hmm. Yeah, media days rolled off without a hitch, but the Hall induction ceremony last night was delayed because of the weather that rolled through here and up into the Charlotte area. It was more intense in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. So if you like watching these ceremonies, then you have the chance to do that because they're postponed it to today. By the way, sorry if you're listening to a replay Saturday night, 8 p.m. or Sunday morning at 8:30. You missed it. But if you're listening to the live show Saturday morning at 7 a.m., you can check out the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Central Time on the NBC Sports Network.
Yeah, there you go.
Last week, we mentioned that the noted driver Rico Abreu would be driving full-time in the Camping World Truck Series for 2016. He kicked off his 2016 in big fashion. He claimed his second straight Chili Bowl Nationals win. The man, who's only 4 feet 4 inches tall, uses blocks to help him reach the pedals of most race cars. Got around Brian Clausen, well known as an IndyCar driver.
Yes.
With only 10 laps to go in the final main feature, went on to claim the win. 23-year-old California native who has a USAC Midget Car Championship on his resume already. He took last year's Chili Bowl win to a successful season in the K&N Pro Series East. He finished 5th in the final standings there. Now, of course, he is moving on, catching the eye of Thor Sport Racing, who has announced he will drive for them in the Truck Series in 2016. Following Abreu and Clausen across the line, a couple of noted NASCAR drivers had Kyle Larson finishing 5th, Casey Kane 13th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was 16th. So, again, we get a lot of these racers. I think it was Sarah Fisher from IndyCar, now into the ownership of IndyCar. I think she finished about 30th.
Yeah, I didn't catch her.
In the grand scheme of things. So she improved. And this is... When it comes to dirt tracking, this is one of the prestigious dirt track races.
It is. It's one of the ones you hear about, every year. Everybody's looking forward to the Chili Bowl. I love all the pictures and everything else. But did you get a chance to see his celebration?
That was classic. For a man who was able to turn donuts, number one, he did it without turning the front wheels. Number two, he had that car kind of hopping around and dancing all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
That was impressive.
That was awesome. We posted, as a matter of fact, the videos on our Facebook page as well.
Facebook.com/thefastesthour in radio. Go check out the video for this.
It was wild.
Watching Rico do that celebration is the things that you can do in a winged sprint car are fascinating, but there are also the limitations to it.
Yes.
And I'm not going to go into whole, what happened to Kevin Ward and Tony Stewart and all that kind of stuff, but let's just face it, it's dirt track racing. We've had Jay Schiller. We're going to have Cruz Skinner in a couple of weeks. We're going to have the Lloyds back in next week. They can tell you that there are limitations when it comes to dirt track racers as well.
Definitely.
So, but the things that you can do, it's really amazing. You want to be part of the show, 941-1011, toll free, 866-551-9933. Speaking of the Chili Bowl, we did talk about this because the news broke pretty much as we were coming in on last Saturday morning.
We broke it.
Yeah, pretty much. The video from the Chili Bowl that showed Tony Stewart confronting a fan in the stands. More information has since come out about that confrontation, despite the major media coverage, which shows really more to concentrate on Tony Stewart's history of being combative. ABC, Good Morning America. The blame actually, and this is from the people, not Tony Stewart, the people that were on the scene and the security guards, solely on the man that the three-time Cup Series champion confronted. First of all, the man has been identified as Corporal Kyle Hess of the Tulsa County Sheriff's Office in Oklahoma.
Hope you like your job.
Yeah, Stewart was not competing at this year's Chili Bowl, but while he was walking through the stands last Friday, heard somebody yelling at him and giving him a salute that is considered, rude, to say the least. Stewart began to approach the man, see what the story was. Multiple phones began recording. Therefore, they only got him getting face-to-face with Hess, placing his hands on him. That was it. The two only talked. Another man who he appears to me to be security. He's been identified as track security, so I'm going to go with he's security.
Yeah, we can go that way.
Yeah, I'm going by somebody else's words here, so understand that.
Yeah.
Intervenes. It is that guy, not Tony, that pushes Hess back into his seat. Tony does lean in to continue to talk to the man. According to one newspaper, the Tulsa World, Tulsa County Sheriff's Department has opened an investigation into the incident, concentrating on Corporal Kyle Hess, not Tony Stewart, and that's something you didn't hear on ABC or NBC. In the rundown I did put, or CBS. Turns out CBS got it right.
No, they did.
And they said that they were concentrating their investigation on Hess. So congratulations to CBS.
Yeah, and I really hate the fact that as soon as something comes down with Tony, they immediately go back to past and everything else.
Yeah.
When clearly, if you look at all of the videos, the pictures, and everything that were posted, I mean, there were so many cameras taking photos, taking videos. You can immediately tell who the instigator was. You can immediately tell Tony he didn't do anything wrong.
No, absolutely not. And he would do anything that basically any of us would do. If you see somebody giving you that salute and ragging on you from a distance, you're going to pretty much at least look at him and go, what's your problem?
Well, and the fact is, this guy didn't just do it for a moment or a couple minutes. Apparently, he was doing it the entire time. Every time he saw Tony out on the track,
pushed up against a wall at some point.
Yeah, it's going to happen because there was one photo, a great photo, as a matter of fact, from behind Kyle Hess, Corporal Kyle Hess, because I'm just going to put him out there like that. Corporal Kyle Hess is sitting there, finger in the air, beer in one hand. You see him in his red sweatshirt and his little cute little hat. Yeah. And he's up and he's standing up, the only person standing up. You see Tony Stewart out on the track right there, and he's flipping him off, and he's just doing what he had been doing. So, Tony was very, very open to all the fans. So many fans put a lot of photos out, little selfies with Tony and everything else, smiles all around and everything else. And then this moron has to be the exception.
Yep. Tulsa County Sheriff's Department Deputy Justin Green tells the newspaper, the Tulsa World, they're looking at all the video that they can find, see what started the discussion, whether Hess acted inappropriately, and said, quote, "We are all held to a higher standard, even off duty. So we'll try and follow up on this. We may or may not find out anything more about this, quite frankly. On better news for the three-time Cup champion, Tony Stewart, as has been well documented, entering his final year in Sprint Cup Series racing. He's going to be honored, I'm sure, from several tracks, sponsors, television, radio. And there's one more that was just announced over this week, and I find this to be pretty cool because he hasn't been there for a long time, like 7 years. His first NASCAR Sprint Cup Series owner, Joe Gibbs, who Tony Stewart won 33 races and 2 championships with him from 1999 to 2009. Joe Gibbs Racing has announced with the first such tweet sent out last Wednesday that they're going to use all year long the hashtag TonyTribute20, which will still show milestones that he accomplished while driving the 20 car for that team. The first one that they highlighted was, pretty kind of figured this one, his first win, 1999, Richmond, the first of his 3 in his rookie season. Kind of a cool thing.
It is, and we talked about it with Jeff Gordon's final season, how they really just went above and beyond. Each of the tracks did, all the drivers did, and everything
Texas
else.
with 2 miniature ponies.
Yeah, he put out pictures of the miniature ponies.
Kids love them.
The kids love them, yeah. But
by the way, Tony has said, "Don't get me any horses."
Yeah, he doesn't want horses. You could buy him probably a couple cars, something like that.
I'm sure
he has enough horses.
He's got a lot of horsepower.
Horses power.
Yes.
Well, that and the fact that while he does love animals, they're the smaller animals. I think the biggest animal he's got is a German Shepherd.
Yeah, he doesn't need a horse.
Yeah, he goes with
Tony's got too much
monkeys, and
he's got too many things going on to worry about horses. But Jeff Gordon, they really sent him off awesome this past year.
I imagine a lot of the tracks will do the same thing, although we haven't heard details yet.
Yeah, we haven't. And we talked about it on the show. Tony does not want anything like that. But he's going to get it regardless.
He's going to get it, but he doesn't really want it that much.
The only thing that saddens me is this: is the fact that the last race of the year. I mean, we got the chance to see
Homestead, Miami.
We got the chance to see the Rainbow Warrior car.
Sure.
We're not going to get the chance to see the throwback Home Depot car unless maybe they have some special thing.
I'm
kind
of wondering. I'm kind of wondering.
You
think about it. Home Depot's been out now for a couple of years. They backed out of Joe Gibbs Racing sponsorship entirely, and they've moved out. I've always been under the impression, and from everything that I've ever read and heard, that there's still a great relationship between the management of Home Depot and Tony Stewart.
Right.
So there is a chance. Again, we just haven't heard all the details about what the plans are this year. So there may be an opportunity for a throwback Home Depot car.
Regardless, you got to give props to JGR. That's just...
Yeah, I mean, they don't have to do that.
No, they don't. But
it's a guy who hasn't been there for almost a decade.
But he's also one of those guys that helped build that organization to what it is now. Even though the Toyotas had an off season, even though Kyle Busch won the championship. But, he still was there. Yeah. He brought them up.
Yeah, I agreed. All right, as we mentioned, NASCAR holding their preseason media days this past week, and they've taken the time to announce a couple of changes. One welcome, another, not so much by the reaction I've been seeing. Let's kind of deal with the one that seems a little bit more welcomed.
Let's do that.
They're bringing a modified chase format to the Xfinity and Camping World Truck Series. We've kind of wondered whether they were going to do this. They're going to.
Yes.
Sprint Cup Series, 16 qualifiers, 10 race elimination format. By the way, they're no longer named Challenger, Eliminator, and all that. They're just the round of 16, the round of 12, the round of 8, and all that.
Maybe our blasting them enough kind of made them go, maybe we need to stop
because they're so confusing anyway. Let's just talk about it.
It's like, which one are we in again?
Yeah, they listened. Okay, so we eliminate the names, but 16 qualifiers, 10 race elimination. Qualifiers number of racers are going to drop in your lesser series. Xfinity Series, 12 drivers, not 16, qualify for their chase. 7 races will pare down to the Ultimate Champion. 4 drivers eliminated after the 3rd and 6th events. The final 4 will battle it out at Homestead, Miami. Camping World Truck Series also pare down over the final 7 races, but they're only qualifying 8 drivers. They're going to eliminate 2 drivers after the 3rd and 6th races, and then your final 4, again, battle it out for the 2016 title. This is not based upon anything other than if you're one of the 4 that qualify, if Dustin, John, and I, and Joe Schmo over here are the 4, and John is over here, and he happens to place 2nd, but he beats you, me, and Joe, he's the champion.
Congratulations, John.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
So that's how simple it is. You win or you place the best of the 4. You're the winner.
Yes.
Congratulations.
It all comes down to that one race.
I'm still waiting for the one where all 4 of them take each other out, and then it's just a matter of who finished 36th, 37th, or 37th, 38th, 39th, and 40th.
Oh, please don't do that. I don't want to have to talk about that.
You want to talk about NASCAR having to figure out some explanations at that point in time.
It's like, where did the tires stop when it came off the car? Well, it was farther than his tire.
All right. Qualification rules, same as Sprint Cup. Those running for points in the series would win a race, automatically qualified as long as they're in the top 30 in points and have attempted to qualify for each race in the season. Rest of the field, if necessary, filled out by the highest in points without a win, as long as they're inside the top 30.
Right.
In the Xfinity series, there's also a little bit extra thing. They've got a dash for cash aspect to the year for drivers eligible for a $100,000 bonus based upon the best finishes over a 4-race stretch. We'll get back to that in a minute. They will qualify as the driver who finishes the best through those 4 races if they didn't already qualify.
I like that.
Yeah.
Now, that's something else. You know, not only is it the dash for cash, but you're also going for a possible chase spot. If you're having an off season, but you're doing great at that point, that helps you out in the long run.
Absolutely. All right. Here we go.
Yeah, it's the fun part.
Something that has been less well received. Something that's been excoriated by the fans is the installation. You like that word?
What is score? I got to look that one up.
While he's doing that, I'll read the rest of the story.
Yeah.
Installation of a caution clock to the Camping World Truck Series. What the heck does that mean, you might ask? NASCAR Chairman Brian France announced Tuesday that if a green flag run lasts 20 minutes, a caution will automatically be shown. It'll bunch up the field and give the teams an opportunity, he said, to work on their trucks to make them more competitive. Caution clock would be turned off with 20 or less laps remaining in any event, except the events at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park and Pocono Speedway, where the clock will be turned off with 10 or less laps left. This, to me...
Can I just go ahead and call it?
This, hold on.
Okay.
This, to me, smacks of the phantom debris caution.
Yeah, but now they have a reason to actually throw it.
Okay. We want to bunch up the field. We want to make it all look nice and pretty.
Yeah, this is the single most
artificial manipulation of a race.
Yeah, Brian France, this is by far and away the most moronic thing that your brain could ever think of. This we talked about this off air.
Right.
And I think I used the term that was like throwing darts in the dark blindfolded.
Sure.
So, now, this is stupid. I mean...
Let me play devil's advocate for a moment, or I'm going to try.
He's going to try.
I'm going to try to play devil's advocate.
He's going to chew through it.
For a moment.
Okay.
Of the 3 top series of NASCAR, by and large, there are exceptions. Obviously, we've seen Ron Hornaday Jr., and obviously we get the Moonlighters that come down from the Xfinity and the Sprint Cup series from time to time. But by and large, would you agree that of the 3 top series in NASCAR, the least experienced racers are in the Camping World Truck Series?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, I'll go there. Mm-hmm.
So this gives them the opportunity for maybe some of the back markers to work on the truck and potentially get them up to speed or maybe cornering better or something like that. I kind of see where he's going with that. But here's the deal, folks. These are people. How many times have we documented this? Jeff Gordon started at 5. Tony Stewart started at 7. Cruz Skinner, who's a hot shot, Garrett Lloyd, who's a hot shot coming up at Talladega Short Track. They are in the cars at young ages. Mm-hmm. These people have multiple years of racing under their belt.
Yes.
And I understand that they're not necessarily jumping up into one of the top echelon teams in the Camping World Truck Series. They're not all going in and running for Thor Sport Racing or Red Horse Racing from a couple of years ago or now KBM Motorsports. I get that, but you know what? They got to learn on the track.
Yes.
And this is the only series in the entire world that I know of that has installed a caution clock.
Yeah, this is just... I mean, if you go back, you look at a lot of the races. We've seen it over the years. We've seen a lot of races where there's one very dominant car that's out there just leaving the field in the dust. They're lapping people the whole 9 yards for forever, it seems.
Sure.
And then finally a caution might come out or something like that. But by then, the race is over for the rest. Well, guess what? Get better or go home.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. You're not teaching anybody anything by saying, okay, every 20 minutes you get a chance to go work on your car because of an artificial caution. It doesn't make sense.
I can hear the audio now between the crew chief and the driver, especially if somebody who's having like a bad day. Well, don't worry, just hold it in there for 8 more laps and we're going to get a caution.
Yeah, give us 5 more minutes and then we'll have a caution. We're good.
Yeah.
This is going to be we see one Camping World Truck Series race live, you and I, every year, guaranteed, at Talladega Superspeedway. This, I pray that they change this before they get to Talladega. This will be horrible.
Well, that's pretty late in the year. I'm hoping this is.
I hope that they change it earlier, but by the time we get to Talladega, if they haven't changed this is going to be a spectacle of ugliness that I have not seen, and I can't tell you how long.
Our second race weekend is Atlanta.
Yes.
I hope it's going by Atlanta.
I hope they realize at Daytona this is going to be a disaster.
And not only is it going to be a disaster on track, it's going to be a disaster for the viewers. It's going to be a disaster for the fans that have paid good money to go there and see great racing, not caution clock racing.
There's one benefit that I can come up with. Only one.
There's one.
And that's to Fox Sports 1, who has the television coverage, because now they can guarantee to their sponsors who are going in and they're buying their Camping World Truck Series television sponsorship, hey, every 20 minutes, we're giving you a commercial.
Well, not only that, but the sponsors that are on the lesser-known cars, too.
Yeah.
They're going to get a little bit more time because they're going to continue to put that camera to the back and go, well, that helps out, Jim Bob and the yada-yada Toyota.
Exactly. Any thoughts over there? You've been looking at this and seemingly have a pretty bad taste in your mouth, John.
Yeah. Is Franz a liberal? Because it seems to me he's bowing down to all the whiners. We can't compete.
I know we're not political. I say we rename this the caution clock.
The liberal caution clock?
The Bernie Sanders clock.
It's been a long time since, by the way, we've done a promo based upon a bit from the show. That might be it.
That's it. Cut, print, check the tape. I'm telling you, this is just stupid. I mean, this takes away from the racing. It takes away from the guys who have worked hard. It basically takes the fact of practice, qualifying, the whole 9 yards, tosses that out the window because you can go into the weekend with the most crappiest piece of junk that you just pulled off the lot, and you can still win the race because you're going to get a guaranteed caution to work on your truck or your car.
Instead of having to work on it and set it up through practice and through qualifying and doing what everybody else has done all in the past and earned their win, now you have the chance artificially to get multiple opportunities to work on your vehicle.
Which is just stupid. It takes away from everything. It's now taking, why worry about practice? Why worry about qualifying? You know what? Let's just do away with practice. We can do qualifying.
Yeah, there was a time when Brian France, his predecessors, his father and his grandfather, would basically say, it's my way or the highway.
Yeah.
I have no idea what pressure Brian France is bowing to here. I really don't.
I'd love to know.
But Brian France needs to grow a pair and understand how his father and his grandfather ran NASCAR and brought it to the successful heights that he is now trying to tear down shovelful by shovelful.
Not trying. There's no trying here with Brian France. This is
he
him.
is successfully tearing down the success that NASCAR was.
Everything that they built, he's destroyed.
Yeah.
And you mentioned it a few moments ago about Fox. We can guarantee you commercials. Yeah. It could be all about the money.
And if that's all that it is, that's even worse.
Put that man out. Is there any way to get rid of him?
Unfortunately, no. It's a family-owned corporation.
Can they put him in the nut hut?
Only if his sister, Lisa Kennedy, does.
Can we get her on the phone?
Get Lisa Kennedy on the phone.
Working on it.
Good luck. The final full unveil of the Daytona Rising project, by the way, that's that $400 million facelift at the Cornerstone track, the NASCAR. Gorgeous. It's finally going to happen in the Sprint Unlimited cash grab next month. It's not even actually going to be completely done when they run the 24 hours of Daytona coming up here in a couple of weeks. But with all of that almost done, NASCAR has announced which ISC, International Speedway Corporation-owned tracks are up for major upgrades next. Lisa Kennedy, the CEO of ISC, who we just talked about a moment ago, said that they have targeted Phoenix and Richmond for major work next. What exactly is going to be done, not detailed, other than they're going to introduce a lot of modern-day amenities. at some point in time, they're going to have to look at Talladega Superspeedway. And
Yes.
I'm not getting into the point where I'm throwing our other bosses up under the truck here. But when we're talking about major renovations, yeah, we've taken out all the old seats. We put in new seats. They look fantastic.
That place looks great.
They have put the party decks in. I think that's fantastic. They've upgraded the ability to get your cell phone signal out there because it's kind of a dead spot out there, quite frankly. Internet, much better out there as well. But there are amenities now that are a Daytona, a Richmond, and a Phoenix apparently are about to get that Talladega's still waiting for. And let's face it, if you're talking about the track that has shown firsts on many occasions, the first time to have a qualifier over 200 miles an hour, for example, things like that, one would think you'd want Talladega to be right there and every bit as nice as a Daytona, a Richmond, or a Phoenix.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those crown jewels. And not just the fact that it's a super speedway, but there's always great racing.
Yeah.
There's always people there. There's always tons of people there.
Yeah.
So, get put out there and do those kinds of things. I mean, Phoenix kind of shakes me a little bit, though. Why?
I didn't really think Phoenix was all that bad. We just saw Phoenix.
Phoenix looks really good. I would say, and like, you said previously, not throwing anybody under the bus, but I think, our bosses need to look at Talladega Superspeedway because they're doing a great job out there with what they've got, resources wise.
Sure.
We were talking on air, as a matter of fact, about it. While we were out there.
Yeah, we actually talked to Grant Lynch on the air. About,
Grant was talking about all the things.
We keep seeing incremental improvements over the course of time, and what they are doing with what they are being given is great, but that major overhaul that they're talking about now, they're going to have to look at some of these tracks because other than the seeding project and the repaving project, when we get to talking about a major overhaul, a Daytona Rising overhaul, I don't think Talladega's ever had one.
No, they have not, and definitely need something to really make that place shine. I mean, it shines already, but we can make that place shine even better.
Absolutely. Let's get into actual on-track Sprint Cup news here. Front Row Motorsports, they've paired a veteran Sprint Cup Series driver with a 2016 Rookie of the Year contender, Chris Buescher. The team tabbed 6-year veteran Landon Castle to drive the number 38 Ford Fusion. Castle's only 26 years old, but already has 187 Sprint Cup Series starts to his credit, most recently driving the number 40 for Hillman Racing. So Castle comes in, he replaces David Gilliland. No sponsor announced at this time. They said that they should have a sponsor by the time they get to Daytona.
That would work.
Furniture Row Racing, not to be confused with Front Row Racing, has made some changes from 2015 to 2016. We've reported before they've moved from Chevrolet to Toyota. They have a working relationship with Joe Gibbs Racing, which I'm still not sure is going to work out as much as they think that it will. More importantly, they've added a sponsor.
I love this.
One very familiar to Sprint Cup fans over the past few seasons, Bass Pro Shops. Again, it's the outdoor superstore that is signed on to be the primary sponsor for Martin Truex Jr. and the number 78 Camry, that's weird to say, for 9 events in 2016, in addition to sponsoring also Tony Stewart and Jamie McMurray at the Sprint Cup Series level and Ty Dillon at the Xfinity Series level for 2016 races. So it is possible at some Sprint Cup races this year you could be seeing double, possibly triple.
This isn't new territory for Martin Truex, though, with Bass Pro Shops.
No, this is a prior sponsorship for him.
He's been with them before and has a great relationship with them. So we talked about it when Reagan Smith was driving the 78 Chevy.
Yes.
And the fact that, it's going to be great when we get the chance to see them get some sponsorship. The way Martin Truex Jr. came in this past season and just really blew the doors off of everybody with that one-car team, this is the ultimate payoff for that team. I do love the lineup of the people, though, because I see Ty in there, and there's Jamie, and there's Tony. Who was the other guy that was sponsored by Bass Pro Shops?
Missing a Dillon somewhere.
I think it's an Austin.
Yes.
Yeah, look, they went with a winner.
Tony did comment on that Bass Pro Shop sponsorship of the 78, said actually the number of races, 9, is going to come out of some of his slate of prior sponsored events. He said Stewart Haas Racing now looking to fill out the remaining events of the 2016 season for the 14. Bass Pro Shops will only be the primary sponsor on the 14 for 2 or 3 races this upcoming season. Stewart was highlighting, by the way, his new look car with the Mobil 1 paint scheme at Media Days. That was the driver suit that he was wearing was Mobil 1.
Yes.
He had Bass Pro Shops kind of more as an associate, whereas most of the time we've seen him in the past, he's been in a Bass Pro Shops when he's been doing public speaking or public appearances or whatever.
Well, I mean, you look at this fact, and we already know what's happening after this season into next season. We know that Clint Boyer's going to be coming over to drive the 14. He's bringing 5-hour energy with him.
Yes.
So it's not a bad thing that Bass Pro Shops is putting some money over towards Martin Truex Jr. and that 78 Camry team.
Yeah. Now we just got to figure out who's going to be the one to step in and fill in, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Maybe an appearance for a Home Depot. There's the opening.
It's a possible. There it is.
The opening's there.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to change the color scheme that much.
No, but I mean, like I said, though, the fact is you don't have to worry about the sponsorship because everything that you're losing on this end right now, you're gaining when they bring over the sponsors that are coming with Clint Boyer.
Right.
So they've already got the car pretty much filled out.
Yeah. So not bad.
So it's not a bad idea.
Tony Stewart feeling a little bit of his oats, by the way. We're talking a lot of Tony Stewart this week.
Yeah, he's slimming down, too.
Yeah, he did. Nice little diet. Said he was just laying off a couple of things, altered his diet a little bit. No more gummy bears. Dropping down on the pizzas, the beer, the Cokes.
Krispy Kreme donuts.
A little bit. And actually got a guy working him out. He's got a personal trainer that's helping him out. And he said, I don't know why I waited until I was 44 in my last year of Sprint Cup Series to do this. I have no idea either, Tony. But that's what you did. When we come back, we called out Brian France?
Yes.
He called out Brian France on Media Days.
I love it.
We'll talk about that when we get back.
You're listening to the fastest hour in radio on Superstation 101.
Tony Stewart wins the Cobalt Tools 400.
This is Tony Stewart here to tell you about a way veterans and service members can get on the fast track for well-deserved benefits. It's called eBenefits, a website created by VA and DoD that gives veterans, service members, and families instant access to more than 40 benefits and services. It's a way to serve those who have served us. To get started, just go to www.ebenefits.va.gov or just do a search for VA eBenefits.
Brought to you by the Department of Veterans Affairs.
The new year is all about starting fresh and with a clean slate. How about this be the year you finally put down cigarettes completely? With Wild Vapors in Sylacauga and Alexander City, you can do just that. You know you've quit at the end of every cigarette, so let Wild Vapors show you how with vaping. Owners Eddie and Shelley were former smokers themselves. They started Wild Vapors because they knew they wanted to help others lay down cigarettes as well, with their own special brand formula that would help you gradually reduce your nicotine intake to eventually none at all. Their signature formula is mixed in an off-site cleanroom facility with using only the highest quality USP ingredients and leaving out artificial sweeteners and other unnecessary chemicals. Eddie and Shelley have your solution to finally laying down cigarettes. Join the 1,000 others who have found the freedom from smoking with Wild Vapors in Sylacauga and Alexander City. Give them a call at 256-369-2569 or stop by one of their 2 locations in Sylacauga Walmart Shopping Center or their Alexander City location. Stay on track with Wild Vapors.
Back to green flag action on the fastest hour in radio on Superstation 101.
Hey, welcome back in. Fastest hour in radio rolling on. 9411011, toll free 866-551-9933. Those are the phone numbers for you. We're assuming, of course, that our phones are actually working. Just throwing it out there.
I'm not on the phone, so I don't know.
Tony Stewart, as we mentioned before the break, took some time during Media Days to call out NASCAR chairman Brian France. I wish he had gone further, but Thursday during Media Days for the Chevy drivers, Smoke took the time to state that Brian France simply wasn't spending enough time with the drivers.
Bingo.
Duh. 3-time champ told media he wished France would come to the meetings of the NASCAR Drivers Council. Stop right there. Why the heck is the chairman of NASCAR not with the Drivers Council talking to them about the situations that they're dealing with?
Because it's beneath him?
Apparently.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, that's cut and dry. That's flat out. He just doesn't care.
Tony Stewart added that he felt his opinions were not being taken seriously by saying, quote, Brian France cautioned me on making too many suggestions last year. What?
Oh, suggestions are bad. We don't want suggestions. This is the evil empire. Cue the Star Wars Imperial Death March.
Tony wrapped it up by saying, so I'm going to try to keep my ideas to myself a little bit, which, you know what, I don't blame him. And here's why I don't blame him. Because, you know what, talking to Brian France is apparently like talking to Bernie Sanders.
It is.
you can sit there and talk until you're blue in the face, and it doesn't make a dang bit of difference whatsoever. Brian France is going to go do whatever it is that he feels like he needs to go do.
And see, that's the problem. We talk about it all the time on the show. The fact that NASCAR always listens to the fans, right?
Yeah.
You know, they always do. Well, they do until it hits that point where it goes in front of Brian France, and he goes,
maybe not.
It's not lucrative for me now.
Yeah. Way to go, Tony.
I really just hope that I hope Tony kind of goes back on that a little bit. This is his last season. What's Brian France going to do to him?
Fire him?
Oh, no.
Tony Stewart's got 4 NASCAR Sprint Cup cars running and plans on continuing the 4 next year, even when he steps out from behind the wheel.
Yeah.
That's pretty cornerstone. Trust me. You don't want to mess. You don't want to really mess him up too bad.
That's a good.
But you don't want to mess. Brian France doesn't want to mess up Tony that bad either. That's the thing. This is kind of a symbiotic relationship that these two are dealing with.
Yeah.
So Brian France better understand something here. Just because you happen to be born into this family, you better wake up.
Yeah, go to the tracks more. Hey, here's a clue. While you're sitting at home, eating your filet mignon, reaping the benefits of your business, maybe turn it on the TV.
Yeah.
Check it out once in a while. See what's going on.
Ford Motor Company has unveiled a slightly revised Ford Fusion for 2016. 3 years ago, NASCAR introduced, of course, that Gen 6 car. It allowed the teams to be able to work to work with their car makers to be able to make their racers have more of the characteristics of the street brothers and sisters. Ford took their engineering department and they unveiled their 2017 Ford Fusion plans to NASCAR. They approved those changes for the 2016 Fusion Racer. It's a new look, makes the nose look a bit sleeker. It's got a rake, should help the air move over the nose better than the 2015 version. The nose kind of leaned forward a little bit there. So Ford, which, well, let's face it, they were they were awful last year. They might have a better aerodynamics package as they introduce the new lower aerodynamics with the spoilers and all that kind of stuff. Maybe it'll flow over the nose a little bit better.
I'm confused.
Why?
I'm sitting here thinking back to this past season, and there are 2 Fords that just stand out to me that had a lot of speed every single week.
Penske.
Penske.
Yeah.
And just because Roush Fenway can't get their heads out of their rears enough to get
flat on their faces.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that we need to change the car. I mean, we've got 2 cars that are out there outperforming the rest. Joey Logano was on a rail many times this year.
Until Matt Kenseth railed him.
This is true. But, if you look at that fact right there, just because the Penske camp was doing good and Roush Fenway wasn't doing so well, now we're going to change the car? What does that do aerodynamically? These cars were set up.
Here's the thing. The Ford teams went to Ford. They worked on the car together. They presented it to NASCAR and said, you're going to do that with your cars? Then you can do it to the racers. What did we talk about last week? Used to be Big Bill France would sit there and say, you think that you're having problems running your Ford? Well, either go work with Ford to make your car better or go run Chevys or Dodges or Plymouths or Oldsmobiles or whatever it is that's running better, that's kicking your butt out there. You have those 2 options, or shut the heck up.
Yeah.
Boo-hoo,
that I like.
The rules for me because I'm losing.
Yeah. This I like. The Ford teams went to Ford. They did something about the design. They presented it to NASCAR. And that's the way that it should be done.
I would like to see the info, as in when we left the box car and came forward a little bit, where everybody's kind of got their fronts. They look like the cars. The fronts look like the cars. Sort of.
The grill looked like the cars.
But the thing that it boiled down to was the fact that they were all different. So when we detailed it on the show, we were talking about all the aerodynamics, making sure that this wasn't get a little bit more slipstream than this one. They were all still kind of even keel, sort of, so to speak. What does this do against the other makes now? What does this do against the Toyotas and the Chevrolets? Where's the information that shows that it's still on par with those, or does Ford possibly have an edge now?
That's the question. And if they do, then all the Chevy guys and all the Toyota guys need to go to Chevy and Toyota and say, hey, listen, what can we do?
So now we're getting back
Precedent has been set.
So now, right, because we didn't have to consult with Chevy and Toyota. Now we can do what we want to do with our cars, and what's that mean? It means we're getting back to the way that things used to be, where if you didn't like your car, fix it.
Bingo.
Bah, Yahtzee.
See? He came to it.
Woo-hoo!
It took him. He went the long way around.
I am a jarhead.
He went the long way around to get there. It was kind of like getting from here to Atlanta by going through Nashville and Chattanooga, but he got there.
I think where I was coming from on that, though, was the fact that they stressed how much when we went to these style cars that they were going to be even keel all the way across.
Yeah.
And just because they have a bad season, one bad season does not constitute major changes like that, especially when the other Ford camp is doing so well.
Yeah, well.
Sorry.
They did what they did.
Figure out your team.
I'm not upset about it. I think that this is a good move. I think it's a good move towards getting back to the cars and the teams that are running those cars having more say in it than NASCAR going, you run the same big block body, by the way, put your little front grill on there and your emblem and you're good.
I mean, I like it sort of, but I don't know, I'm kind of on the fence on that.
I'm about to knock you off that fence.
Okay.
Tommy Baldwin Racing has made a change, going to bring Regan Smith back to the Sprint Cup Series. Smith has been driving in the Xfinity Series for about past, 3 seasons? Garnered 5 wins, 3 top 5 points finishes over that time, but he now steps back up into the Sprint Cup Series. Tommy Baldwin Racing again. He sets Alex Bowman out. Now he's looking for a ride, but Bowman hadn't been able to crack the top 30 in Sprint Cup points in his 2 years in the series. Sponsorship not mentioned yet for the single car effort, but Smith does bring 176 Sprint Cup Series starts of experience with him. Best finish, 2009, Talladega. So he finished second place there. He brings more experience, but I'm not necessarily sure that that's the best move. We've seen the resurgence. We saw him now start to really be able to compete on a more regular basis in the Xfinity Series, but that hasn't always translated up. Sam Hornish Jr.,
Elliott Sadler.
The
list goes on. And I feel bad for Alex Bowman.
Yeah, because at this point in time, he's looking for a ride.
Yeah.
There's not much there.
There isn't anything there. And now he's joining that list of guys that we detailed right here on the show that are out of rides right now.
Yeah.
Now, Regan Smith, I love Regan. He's a great guy.
Sure.
And he did well in the Xfinity Series. He's not going to this going back up like you
Tommy
just
Baldwin
said.
Racing single car operation kind of out there all by themselves.
It's not like the single car operation when he was over there at Furniture Row Racing.
Yeah,
they were on a different level.
Yes.
So this I don't see working out well.
I don't either. Kyle Busch, you guy that you can't stand. This may actually...
You just said his name.
You might like this.
Oh.
He's not going to do any extracurricular racing in either the Xfinity or Camping World Truck Series at the super speedways of Daytona or Talladega this year. Stated he hopes to run about 15 to 18 events in the lower tier series, but he said, quote, no restrictor plate races. I'm out of that stuff. Added his wife won't let him anymore after he missed the first 11 Cup Series events of 2015 following the crash in the Xfinity Series season opener at Daytona last year. So we won't have to worry about him at Talladega.
Did you hear the story on that? Did you read the story?
Not the full.
As a matter of fact, Samantha Busch, his wife,
yes,
who now wears the fire suit in that family,
apparently,
she immediately called Coach Gibbs and said, "No more."
Good for her.
She went right above Kyle and went right to the boss and said, "No more."
Yeah. Don't give him an engine. Don't give him a car. Don't give him a truck.
Now, Samantha, I love that move. Now, if you could go and say no more to everything else,
yes,
that we'd love you to pieces.
Please. Wood Brothers looking for some help in sponsorship. During media days, co-owner, I should say, Eddie Wood, said that he knew that the Ford Motorcraft sponsorship would cover 12 races in 2016 and potentially more, but doubted the company would cover the entire 36 points races 2016 season. As the Wood brothers now return to their first full-time schedule since 2008. Wood said that it's a work in progress. He does hope to have an announcement soon. As much as we rag on the Ford guys here, I really want to see this become a success because the Wood brothers, that's a legendary name in the sport. You'd never want to see them go away. You never want to see them having a hard time. I hope that they can find their sponsorship because to have the Wood brothers in there on a full-time basis and to see that 21 on the track every week, it's just too good.
I felt there was a resurgence coming at Wood Brothers when we looked at Trevor Bayne when Trevor Bayne won the 500.
Right.
I mean, yeah, granted, it's a restrictor plate, yada, yada, yada. Anybody can win on that. But he did an exceptional job.
Still got to get it out there.
And then from there, it was nothing.
Still got to get it out there, number one. Number two, at a restrictor plate track, especially at the time that Trevor Bayne won it, you needed to have a partner, and Wood Brothers Racing is a single-car operation, so that puts it into question immediately. The fact that he was able to do that was impressive. Ford and Motorcraft stepped up. They put him into the All-Star race that year, sponsored that. They sponsored about half a dozen more races after that for that particular year because they liked what they saw.
Right.
They were doing 12 to 18 races every year since then. Now we have Trevor Bayne out. We've got Ryan Blaney in. They go back to full-time. Again, I'm not saying Ford and Motorcraft need to step up to full-time. I just hope that they can find that sponsor or sponsors that help them expand out to become that full-time operation and not have any concerns about it.
I don't think there's going to be a concern. I mean, Ryan Blaney has proven himself so far.
He has.
I think he's done an exceptional job. We've talked about him so many times. I mean, you look at Chase Elliott. He's coming up. Great sponsorship. He's squared away. These young drivers are starting to bring a little bit of sponsorship with them, so that's exceptionally well for the sport.
And I'm also hoping that they don't have to do what we just heard that Levine Family Racing has done with Circle Sport Racing. They've merged the two organizations. It means that they're going to utilize Circle Sports Alliance with Richard Childress Racing. That's a good thing. Team has announced they're going to make the merge. They hammered out a deal pretty quickly in order to keep the technical alliance. So Levine, it was initially thought they were going to go from the 95 Ford Fusion to the 33 Chevy SS. They're going to keep the number 95, but they are moving to Chevrolets. Michael McDowell returns to the car for Levine Family Racing in 2016. The team states that they're going to attempt to qualify for all 36 points events, something they didn't do last year. They missed out on some races.
Yes,
so now Levine/Circle Sport goes for the entire year. Sponsorship from Thrivent Financial, K-Love Radio, those were at Levine last year. Cheerios, which was with Circle Sport last year, stays there as the sponsors of the 95, although the breakdown of who's sponsoring what race is not yet known. Reports have Ty Dillon getting some potentially turns behind the wheel in addition to Michael McDowell, but McDowell's going to run the vast majority of the events from what we've been told.
Why not just let Michael McDowell do it?
Because Circle Sport had to get something other than Cheerios in there, I guess.
Yeah.
Greg Biffle been looking to get some sponsor help over the past couple of seasons. Most notably lost 3M to Jeff Gordon in his final years in the Sprint Cup Series racing. Ortho went as well. Now Roush Fenway Racing actually has some good news. They've signed a new sponsor to a multi-race deal for 2016 as the Colonel, the new freaky Colonel.
Oh, God.
Going to get FaceTime on the number 16. KFC, or Kentucky Fried Chicken if you're old school, going to be a primary sponsor to kick off the season with the Sprint Unlimited and the Daytona 500. The deal not discussed any further than saying it was a multi-race deal with planned 2016 events past the 500 not stated, but
I see Norm Macdonald.
I kind of like Norm Macdonald, but not as the Colonel.
No, he's the freaky version. It's like that movie It with Pennywise the Clown.
Yes.
That's him.
By the way, played by Tim Curry.
Yes. That's him right there. Now I can only anticipate, and the thought just scares me, of a commercial with Norm Macdonald as the Colonel driving up in a race car.
Oh.
How's that sit with your nightmares?
Moving on. During media days this week, NASCAR announced that certain Xfinity Series races are going to get heat races to determine the qualifying order. This is at selected events. We mentioned before the 4 Dash for Cash races. They're going to be run at Bristol, Richmond, Dover, and then at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Those 4 events are all going to feature heat races. According to practice speeds, the odd number is going to run the first heat, and then the even-numbered positions run the second heat. So if, for example, let's put the 3 of us in the race at Bristol, since it's the first one.
I'll put you into the wall.
Dustin, you got the fastest speed. I've got the second fastest speed. And because of his comment, John gets the third fastest speed. You two get into the first heat. You're leading. He's on the outside of the front row. I lead the second heat. Right. And then the fastest speeds after that in the heat races and you know, whoever finishes. And it's kind of like the Daytona qualifying dual races. It's weird.
I think I'll reserve judgment on that one.
I got to see this in action. I don't mind necessarily the idea of heat races. I just got to see how they're actually going to put it into action.
Yeah, the clock is out the window. That's a done deal. But this could be a good thing.
Yeah, after the heat races are over, the top 2 become eligible for the $100,000 Dash for Cash bonus. By the way, that's only paid out if either one of the top 2, let's say that you win your heat race and I win my heat race, so we're ending up on the front row like we would have been during practice anyway. If you win, you get the $100,000. If I win, I get the $100,000. But because he didn't qualify in the front row, John could win the race, but he wouldn't get the $100,000 bonus.
He didn't get past the third lap.
You're still putting the wall. I'll pull a Kevin Harvick on you.
All right, here's kind of the breakdown that we know of.
Really?
Yeah, really. Bristol going to have 2 50-lap heat races, then a 200-lap race, April 16th. The next week, April 23rd at Richmond, 2 35-lap heat races with a race 140 laps long. The heat race and the feature length have yet to be determined for Dover on May 14th or Indianapolis July 23rd. In the past, the race at Dover, 200 laps. Indy hosted a 100-lap main feature, so I don't know how that's going to affect it yet. They haven't announced, so we'll find out later, I suppose. TriStar Motorsports is paring down a bit for the 2016 season. They've dropped from 4 full-time entries to 2 full-time rides. Those will sport the numbers 14 and 44. They're going to stick with running Toyota Camrys. 44, for now, is solid. David Starr behind the wheel. Frankie Kerr, the crew chief, as he comes over from Richard Petty Motorsports. Sponsorship, as it was last year, from the Zachary Group. A little less is known about the 14, as only the crew chief has been announced. That's Eddie Pardue. Officials with TriStar state that they will announce both sponsorships and driver or drivers soon. I find the word soon interesting because right about a month from now, they've got to be in a race.
That's why I said I've said it how many times. You've said it too. It's just like Formula One. We don't know who's in the car.
Yeah, exactly. What happened to Blake Cook, by the way, you might ask? Well, he and TriStar both announced they split, stated it was amicable, friendly. They're going to allow Cook to pursue other opportunities. At this time, Cook planning to drive the number 8, a number he used at TriStar, reportedly will continue to drive Camrys, but not known if those are coming from TriStar as well. He moves over to Kaulig, K-A-U-L-I-G Racing for 2016. It's a brand new team. They are actually now, according to what we're hearing, not going to use the number 8. They're going to use the number 11, and it will be sponsored by Leaf Filter Gutter Protection. And it will not be a Camry. It will be a Chevy Camaro. I love how the news goes from the beginning of the week to the end of the week. That's how quickly these things change here.
Oh, yeah.
Kaulig Racing, by the way, named after Matt Kaulig, who is the president and owner of Leaf Filter. He's expanding out from Leaf Filter into racing ownership. Good luck. 2016 will mark his first year as a team owner. He will have Xfinity Series veteran crew chief Chris Rice calling the shots on top of the war wagon as well. So he's got experience in racing. He's got experience in crew chief. And here's the thing. They're going to a brand new thing. We haven't heard anything about an alliance for them, whether it's Richard Childress or Hendrick or whoever. So I don't know where they're getting their equipment from necessarily. That might be the key as to how successful this new Kaulig racing effort might be.
Yeah, that's going to be the seals the deal right there, is find out who they're working with.
But since it's Chevy Camaros, we know that it's not Joe Gibbs Racing, who has announced that for his first season running for points in the Xfinity Series, Eric Jones going to be getting plenty of support. 4 different sponsors have signed on to be the primary sponsor at different times throughout the course of the 2016 season. Those include longtime Joe Gibbs Racing sponsors GameStop and Interstate Batteries. The other is going to be Reese's Fine Foods, which has been there for a couple of years, as has Hisense, Hisense. GameStop is actually going to get the most hood time. That's been pretty typical on the 20 car.
Oh, yes.
They're going to get 12 events in all in 2016. Reese's Fine Foods gets 8 times on the hood. Hisense 5 races as primary. And Interstate Batteries, celebrating now a quarter of a century as a Joe Gibbs Racing sponsor, will appear as a primary sponsor for 1 known event. That's going to be in Fort Worth, Texas. That's the closest to their home base for Interstate Batteries. So, hey, congratulations to them. And as much as we can kind of think about Joe Gibbs Racing and how much they've dominated, and we can be kind of sick of it to a certain extent, I like Eric Jones. I think Eric Jones is going to be a major star in NASCAR for the coming years, and I'm happy to see he's getting this kind of support.
It's been great to watch him come up and just go.
What did I tell you the first time we sat and watched a race with Eric Jones?
You chose him as your up-and-coming driver.
That's my boy.
Yep, chose him as your up-and-coming driver, and I got to admit, I've been looking at that as well, which is strange because that means I may end up going back to Joe Gibbs Racing after Tony Stewart steps out. What the heck am I doing?
I'm still good.
I have yet to figure that out after next year. We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Richard Childress Racing has announced Austin Dillon would be returning to the Xfinity Series for the 2016 season, but not for points. The older Dillon brother still going to run for points in the Sprint Cup Series. But according to RCR, will drive the majority of Xfinity Series events in the number 2 Chevrolet Camaro, sponsorship from longtime RCR partner Ream Manufacturing, who will also be an associate sponsor for Ty Dillon's number 3 Chevrolet Camaro. He will also show up as an associate sponsor at all top RCR Cup entries. You are over there biting your tongue. You have comments, please.
No, this I see. I see why this is happening.
Learn.
Yeah, here it is.
That was my comment.
Learn how to drive a race car.
Why is this happening? Because he needs the practice.
His brother got turned down for a ride moving up. Now he's going to get some more time down in the Xfinity Series. Good. This is exactly what you need to do. You need to face reality, the fact that you need more.
I wonder if Stewart Haas Racing is thinking of starting an Xfinity Series team. I think of a driver over there that might, never mind. Athenia Motorsports and driver John West Townley have already announced they're going to be a full-time in 2 series in 2016. They're going to be full-time in ARCA and also in the Camping World Truck Series. In addition, with sponsor Zaxby's, Athenian has announced they're going to enter John West Townley in 3 Xfinity Series events in 2016. So he's going to get ARCA full-time, Camping World Truck Series full-time. There's a lot of travel involved there. Hope he's got a frequent flyer miles thing going for him. But he's also going to be running both Daytona events and the Talladega Superspeedway Xfinity Series event coming up in the spring. The season's restrictor plate events. He will drive the number 25 Chevrolet Camaro with engines from Hendrick Motorsports. Hendrick gives them Athenian's ARCA and Truck Series efforts as well. So he's going to have good equipment.
Yeah.
We've seen him when he has had major support. John West Townley, actually, he's not bad.
He's not bad when he's got everything in place that he needs.
So now becomes the question, with the support of Athenian full-time, with Hendrick Motorsports equipment, wonder what he can do in 2016.
I know it's a little early to say, but if he can go in and be John West Townley that drives, not John West Townley caution guy, then he could do something.
Yeah.
It's very, very easy with everything right there.
I'm intrigued because at some point in time, Athenian keeps making these noises.
Yes.
About becoming this NASCAR thing, and with all due respect to ARCA, and congratulations, by the way, to a guy from right here in the Birmingham area, Joey Gattina.
Oh, yes.
Who has gotten a full-time ride in the ARCA Series for this year. Congratulations to him. And I don't mean disrespect to the ARCA Series, but Athenian has been making noise for a couple of years now about wanting to become a NASCAR operation.
Mm-hmm.
And this seems to be the first step to me of them being full-time, not only in Camping World Truck Series as well as ARCA, but now edging again into the Xfinity Series. Maybe next year, should John West Townley prove to live up to some of that promise that he's been trying to deliver on for a couple of years now, maybe they eliminate the ARCA, keep the Camping World Truck Series, and move him and do more races in the Xfinity Series and start to work their way up with him.
Slowly. Say with me, Athenian. Slowly, you got it. Don't get ahead of yourself now. Right now, the pace is good for them.
Yeah.
If they can continue the pace and they can get what they want out of this year, this is, I think, they're sticking their foot in the water, kind of test the waters a little bit, see what's going to happen, see how he's going to work out.
Two part-time Camping World Truck Series entities coming together to become a full-time operation in 2016. Driver Cole Custer, who drove 10 races for the part-time Junior Motorsports, or JR Motorsports. I like Junior Motorsports myself. Entry in the Truck Series. They've been announced as that truck's full-time racer. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his sister Kelly making that entry full-time. It's a Chevrolet Silverado, going to bear the 00 number for all 23 points events in 2016. During the part-time season in 2015, during those 10 events, Custer won a race along with 2 top 5s, 4 top 10 results, and a pole. So he showed that he has the promise. He will compete for the championship in the Camping World Truck Series in 2016.
We wanted
and you know what?
We wanted this. We were hoping for this.
There is the chance that he could equal Eric Jones from a couple of years ago, Rookie of the Year and Champion. It would not surprise me at all.
Not with Cole Custer.
When we come back, we'll talk about more Camping World Truck Series action. Got a brand new team, or actually, I should say, the return of a team that we haven't seen in a couple of years.
Yeah.
We got some Verizon IndyCar Series news. We got Formula One. We got Formula E. We got NHRA.
We're going to sit down with Steve as well and find out who he's going to go with next year.
Can we get all that in 30 minutes?
We can do it.
All right. We're going to try it next.
I'm Joey Logano, driver of number 22 Discount Tire Ford Mustang. Underinflated tires put your car out of tune. But with properly inflated and maintained tires, your car could be in sync and ready to rock. Keep your car humming along smoothly by checking tire pressure each month and before every long journey. You'll enjoy a better ride, better gas mileage, and get the most out of your tires.
For more information, visit betiresmart.org. A message from the Rubber Manufacturers Association.
The new year is all about starting fresh and with a clean slate. How about this be the year you finally put down cigarettes completely? With Wild Vapors in Sylacauga and Alexander City, you can do just that. You know you've quit at the end of every cigarette. So let Wild Vapors show you how with vaping. Owners Eddie and Shelley were former smokers themselves. They started Wild Vapors because they knew they wanted to help others lay down cigarettes as well, with their own special brand formula that will help you gradually reduce your nicotine intake to eventually none at all. Their signature formula is mixed in an off-site cleanroom facility with using only the highest quality USP ingredients and leaving out artificial sweeteners and other unnecessary chemicals. Eddie and Shelley have your solution to finally laying down cigarettes. Join the 1,000 others who have found the freedom from smoking with Wild Vapors in Sylacauga and Alexander City. Give them a call at 256-369-2569 or stop by one of their 2 locations in Sylacauga Walmart Shopping Center or their Alexander City location. Stay on track with Wild Vapors. Affairs.
Tony Stewart wins the Cobalt Tools 400.
This is Tony Stewart here to tell you about a way veterans and service members can get on the fast track to well-deserved benefits. It's called eBenefits, a website created by VA and DoD that gives veterans, service members, and families instant access to more than 40 benefits and services. It's a way to serve those who have served us. To get started, just go to www.ebenefits.va.gov or just do a search for VA eBenefits.
Brought to you by the Department of Veterans Affairs.
The only show that covers NASCAR, Indycar, and Formula One. The fastest hour in radio on Superstation 101.
I have to throw Dustin a bone every once in a while when it comes to music.
Come on!
Welcome back in. Fastest hour in radio. Have we already gone 1 hour?
Unfortunately, yes.
All right, let's see if we can't hit the accelerator here. Make Motorsports announcing they're bringing back Travis Kvapil for 2015. Last year, the driver and the team paired to finish 16th in final points. They claimed 2 top 15 finishes, Gateway Motorsports Park and Kentucky Speedway. Both sides expressed excitement about pairing up again. Team stated they're looking forward to getting Kvapil some better equipment and resources. It is thought he'll remain in the number 50 Chevrolet Silverado. Sponsorship not yet announced, but in 2015 he was sponsored by CorvetteParts.net, so possibility of that happening as well. We've talked about this. Stability is not necessarily the worst thing in the world, and for a young team to be consistent with their driver is not a bad thing at all.
No, and that can just build a better relationship, which then draws in those sponsors.
Exactly. Tommy Joe Martins is coming back to NASCAR in the Truck Series. Martin's been out of racing for 2 seasons, but Catchfence.com reports Martin's racing organization bought the truck that Mason Mingus drove to a 3rd-place finish last fall at Talladega. They purchased the owner points that previously belonged to the Billy Boat Motorsports number 15 truck, so he's guaranteed to at least get the chance to qualify. Martins has formed a technical alliance with GMS Racing. He'll have Kevin Eagle as his crew chief. He'll drive the number 44 Chevy Silverado. Sponsorship, at least in the season opener, from Diamond Gusset Jeans. They were a major sponsor of him a couple of years ago, the last time he was a regular. So we'll see if he can't make a go of it again. Flipping over to the Verizon IndyCar Series, officials with Dreyer and Reinbold Racing going to go back to the past for their future. Sage Karam, who ran the 2014 Indy 500 for the team, spent 2015 running 12 races for Chip Ganassi Racing, but in 2016, he will at least run the Indy 500 with DNR Racing. Sponsorship from the noted Gas Monkey Garage, the subject of the Discovery reality show Fast and Loud. The car is going to sport the number 24. It will be powered by a Chevrolet. I saw the car. 24 looks suspiciously like the one that Hendrick Motorsports uses on a certain Jeff Gordon previously run car.
Nothing wrong with that.
Indy 500 never been a race that had a title sponsor, but for the 100th running of the famous event, it's going to have a presenting sponsor at least. The race is now officially going to be known as the Indianapolis 500, presented by Pengrade. Pengrade is a subsidiary of a Lebanon, Pennsylvania company known as D-A Lubricant, DA Lubricant.
Oh, yeah, I heard of them.
It's a motor oil specifically produced for grassroots and professional racers alike, as branded to be a high-performance engine motor oil. Sponsor deal is running as a presenter through the 2018 season at least. It's going to be weird not to just say it's the Indy 500. Now we have to say it is the Indy 500 presented by Pengrade.
Why do we always have to do that?
I don't know. We need money.
That's true. Okay.
After taking the 2015 season off, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series driver Kurt Busch said during media days in Charlotte, North Carolina, he would like to run the Indy 500 again. He did add that while he would like to do it, nothing is imminent. No deal's been put together. Busch added he would only like to go back if he felt that he and whatever team he ran for could improve upon the 6th-place finish he did in the race in 2014. He did say, though, his full focus was on improving upon his NASCAR 2015 performance and has put thoughts of the 100th running of the Indy 500 on the back burner for now.
For now.
That's the key.
That leaves that door open.
We here at the Fastest Hour in Radio would like to first of all say sorry we missed it, and then like to wish a happy birthday to IndyCar driver, racing legend AJ Foyt, who turned 81 last Saturday, something we sadly missed when we took the airwaves a week ago. Foyt, of course, holds the record for all-time IndyCar wins, 67, became the first driver to win the Indy 500 4 times. He's owned his own race team since late 1965 and was well known for not only driving but building his own cars. lately been going through some health problems, but the tough old Texan just keeps on kicking. So happy birthday belatedly to you, AJ.
Happy birthday.
Unfortunately, we have to back up that with bad news.
I hate that.
Bob Harkey passes away. Bob Harkey from 1964 through 1975 qualified for 6 Indy 500. Finished in the top 10 3 of those times, the best of those, 8th in his first year, 1964. He did equal that in 1974. He was also active in USAC racing from 62 through 82, competing in his first race in the 2.5-mile high-banked Daytona International Speedway back in 1959. So he's one of the guys that actually helped christen Daytona International Speedway. He raced in what is now the defunct, and we know why, convertible series.
Gee.
Word came down after last week's show. Harkey's passed away in Indianapolis at the age of 85. With all the scandals that have rocked sports all around the world, the latest becoming a scandal in the pro tennis world where some are accusing or being accused of being offered money to blow tennis matches. FIA President Jean Todt would like to present to Formula One fans that they know that they're on the up and up. Todt has instructed an independent auditing company in Europe to come out and pour over its records and show that they are, as they claim, on the straight and narrow. I got to give him some credit. I mean, to throw himself out there and say, hey, listen, you come in, you show everybody that we're not doing anything totally wrong. I guess we're all right. I mean, as opposed to team orders, which states, hey, you know what? Nico Rosberg, you need to let Lewis Hamilton get by. He's got a better chance of winning a championship than you do.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
I'm cool with that.
Last year, 2 teams levied complaints against Formula One. Both Sauber and Force India specifically claimed unfair and unlawful practices, so this is part of the reason why he's doing this as well. Both organizations made the complaint to the European Union over the division of revenues in the sport. They're also upset that the smaller teams, like themselves, have been shut out of the rulemaking F1 strategy group. Officials with the EU are looking into the complaint, but the complaint was well publicized, including right here on this show. Likely the only outlet in the United States that put it on either radio or television. Just saying for record purposes. Todt is also looking to the future and trying to figure out how to bring changes into the sport that might attract more fans. Among the ideas would be bringing back refueling. The Williams organization totally opposed to it. Claire Williams, deputy boss of the organization, said these words, quote, I'm very much against refueling. The manufacturers have spent hundreds of millions on these hybrid power units, which are relevant to the road and the debate about energy efficiency. Should refueling be brought back into the sport, it wouldn't happen until 2017 at the earliest anyway. The Formula One Strategy Group, the meeting of the top 5 manufacturers in Formula One, they're set to meet soon. They're expected to reject the idea of refueling in race as well. I don't really have a problem with that.
Yeah, I'm good either way. I mean, I see where they're coming from on both sides of that, though.
It would make it a little bit more exciting, at least as far as pit stops are concerned.
Yeah.
But let's face it, these guys are bringing in a car, jacking it up, taking off 4 tires, putting on 4 tires, all in the span of about 2.5 seconds. That's pretty flippin' impressive.
Yeah, and then you hook up a hose, and then you drag the hose. Yeah.
And then you have the possibility of, as we've seen in IndyCar, a spark and fire.
Yeah.
So
I could see the safety aspect. I see all sides of that.
Yeah.
I'd be good either way.
Yeah. Another change being called for is a closed cockpit for Formula One. We've talked about this many times. FIA President Jean Todt says he's been hearing about it more and more since the death of both Verizon IndyCar racer Justin Wilson, who was hit on the helmet with a piece of debris during a wreck at last year's Pocono Raceway event. Before that, Jules Bianchi, who was hit in the head as well when his racer went under a piece of equipment in 2014 at Suzuka Raceway in Japan. Todt is worried about this. He's worried that a closed cockpit racer would actually trade one danger for another. They've been investigating 3 proposals for cockpit protection, but concerns about 2 things: driver visibility and the ability of the driver to get out of the car under the new closed cockpit have put the brakes on full implementation. Todt told Autosport.com, a European website, that he wouldn't even consider closed cockpits until all the facts and the consequences are understood as much as possible. Said he's still accepting any safety recommendations from everyone. I see where he's coming from on that. We need to figure something out, though, because we don't need a Justin Wilson or a Jules Bianchi situation to happen again. Hopefully something will happen quickly on this front.
Yeah, I hope so, too. There's got to be a solution to this problem.
And one would think.
And it can be one that's not going to cause any more issues. So hopefully they can figure something out and do it quick.
If you have MAV TV, this would be the time to tune it on.
Oh, there
because
it is.
Raceline, with our good friend Joe Moore from the Motor Racing Network, is showing the celebration that we were talking about early in the show of Rico Abreu doing the celebration for winning that. That was a cool celebration.
That's so wild.
All right, here we go. Back to Formula One. The 4 engine manufacturers within Formula One have all agreed to lower the cost of their engine packages. According to reports from Europe, Mercedes, Ferrari, Renault, and Honda have all come together. They've agreed to drop the supply cost of the turbo V6 engines down to 12 million euros per season. The lower cost will, hopefully, make it more affordable for the backmarkers of the series like Man and Marussia, more on them in a moment, to keep up financially, but it's not set to take effect until 2018. It appears to have satisfied FIA President John Todt. He'd been talking about implementing a budget engine program that is now dead, apparently. The current cost, by the way, for an engine package in Formula One, at least 20 million euros. So it's at least a cut of 8 million.
Yeah, that helps. Heck, a few million helps.
Yeah, it really does. But, geez, we're talking about that. That's a budget engine, $12 million. Hey, we'll supply you for $12 million.
I'd love to have a budget that involves $12 million.
Yeah, really. Williams could be considering a switch in engine providers. According to a report from the German autosport newspaper Auto Bild, the paper reports Damon Hill, who used to race for Williams in the Formula One, matter of fact, won the championship in 1996, he says that they should move away from Mercedes and over to Honda. Hill acknowledges Honda's first season back in the sport in a decade was disastrous last year, but feels as though Honda does have a handle on it, as they've been working on it all off-season with McLaren, trying to get it right for this upcoming year. Williams, of course, used Honda power before. They ran the Japanese car makers' Formula One engines back in the 1980s. They won F1 Driver Cups in 1986 and 1987. Ron Dennis, who's the head of McLaren, had blocked Honda's expansion for 2016 over to Red Bull, but the newspaper states Dennis would be open to a Williams deal. Not sure what the difference is there. Williams actually did better last year in Formula One than Red Bull did, but hey, that's whatever. Williams' lead engineer is Rob Smedley. He's actually downplaying this report of an engine change. He says that while the engines are largely the same as what Mercedes has in their own racers, it was actually Williams falling behind in their own car development that kept them from finishing higher than third in Constructors' Cup over the past 2 seasons. And to move up, Hill, despite the fact that he thinks it'll take an engine change, Smedley feels that it's something that Williams needs to do in their own shop.
I think when you're talking about Honda, Honda's biggest issue was they left the sport. There was a period of them gone. Now they're coming back. They're behind the 8 ball. All that work that you did to get up has nothing now.
Yeah. Want to say thank you very much, by the way. We're constantly getting new listeners like Jesse and Jeremy out of the Phil Campbell and Hamilton areas. We want to thank them very much. Bear Creek area up in northeast Alabama, up near where John is very familiar with.
Oh, okay.
Apparently you've been touting us up there. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. Speaking of touting, we got some great sponsors of our own. We talk about sponsors here all the time. And if you want to develop yourself, kind of like Williams, they need to develop their cars. You want to develop yourself. You want to make yourself healthier. You want to stick around for a while longer, let's say. There's one way that you could do it if you're a smoker, and that's to lay them down.
That's right. You can
It's a process, though.
It is a process, but it's a process that you can do with the good help of our friends Eddie and Shelley Bowman at Wild Vapors down in Sylacauga in the Walmart Shopping Center in Alexander City, right around the corner from Central Alabama Community College. If you want to do the deal and you want to do it the right way, you got to go to the right place. You got to go where we talk about them all the time, the knowledge that they have at that shop. But not only the knowledge, it's the fact that they take the time to explain everything to you. When you walk out of their shop, when you're a first-time person, you go in. We actually found out that somebody had called in, as a matter of fact, from Jasper, called in to inquire, heard about them right here on the show, heard about how good they are, made that phone call down there. You can, too. You can give them a call, 256-369-2569. They got the 2 locations. Like I said, you go in, you talk with Shelley, like John said last week. You talk with Shelley for 10 minutes. You think you understand vaping? In that first 10 minutes, you're going to understand that you don't know anything at all. So if you take the time, go in there. Like I said, they take the time to explain every mod, every tank, all their juice lines, the fact that their juice does not have sucralose or diacetyl or aspartame, all those nasty things that you don't want in your juice. If you want to do it the right way, lay down something bad and pick up something good, stop in to see our good friends at Wild Vapors and get it squared away today. Give them a call, 256-369-2569, facebook.com/wild.vapors.5. Check out all the information there, but give them a call today.
Challenge them.
Challenge them.
Call them.
Yes.
Talk to either Eddie or Shelley for, like you said, 5 to 10 minutes. Ask them the questions that kind of, for example, the chemicals.
Yes.
And then call up your local, wherever you are, chain store. Ask them the same questions.
There's only one real true question. And the first question that you can ask, and I've said it right here on the show several times, I actually remember I was talking to you guys about it initially, was the one question that you should ask is the predominant. Do you have sucralose in your juice? And I guarantee you're going to get, what?
Huh?
What?
What?
What's sucralose?
I don't understand what you're asking.
They give you that response,
hang up.
Run far, run fast, and run to Wild Vapors.
There's a reason we talk about Wild Vapors.
Yes.
And that's where you
I
should
love
be
them.
Some Formula One teams have been talking about their 2016 car unveilings. McLaren Honda feels they are on target to launch the car February the 21st. That'll be right before that weekend's scheduled preseason testing in Barcelona, Spain. In fact, word comes out of the McLaren shop their employees feel so strongly about putting 2015 into the past and having a good 2016 that they actually gave up their Christmas holiday in order to get the car prepped and ready for this first scheduled test about a month from now. Sauber, however, states that they are behind schedule. They've announced they feel as though they're far enough behind schedule on their racers, they're actually going to miss the season's first test. At this time, Sauber officials feel they can make the second scheduled testing session in early March, and if they can't, that's it, because then we go racing in Australia, so they better at least get one test session in.
Got to get something.
Williams has announced they're going to be at the first scheduled test. Their unveil is going to be when their car hits the track. Red Bull Racing feels they're on schedule. They're going to show off their 2016 racer the week before the season's first test. Press will be invited to a release that'll happen actually February 17th in London, England. We reported last week that both the Manor and Haas F1 Team 2016 racers have passed FIA crash testing regulations, so congratulations to both of them. Both are on target for 2016 and unveiling at the first test. A third team has now passed crash testing regimen. That's Renault. The team tweeted out Wednesday, chassis homologation done. However, that happened under the old Lotus F1 team Twitter heading. The team's waiting until a February 3rd media event in Paris, France. That's where they will unveil the team's new name and a logo, and they will reveal their driver lineup. Still somewhat in question because of that sponsorship thing that we talked about last week with Pastor Maldonado.
That confused everybody, probably.
A little bit. It'll all work out in the end.
As in, you see a tweet come out. What? I thought
Lotus
they turned
F1,
into...
aren't you, Renault?
Yeah, you're messing with people's
Actually,
minds.
We may or may not be. You'll find out February 3rd.
But if you follow us and you listen to us, you'll get the information. You won't feel like that guy on the outside looking in.
Go. Manor Marussia, by the way, no longer going to be known by the two names. They're going to officially drop Marussia for 2016 and beyond. They unveiled their new logo. It's a stylized M. Pretty cool thing. Through a Twitter post that was unveiled on Tuesday. Very simple tweet. It read, quote, "Delighted to announce Manor Racing." That's what we're here for. Full reveal Friday.
I like that.
I saw it's a capital M, which it's made up of it looks like a neon sign, if you will. So each of the M's, instead of just one bar, it's kind of like that little S pattern for each of the different ups and downs.
Maybe somebody's got a little obsession with Men in Black.
Maybe so, but they've done a nice job of it.
I like it.
They've done a nice job of it. As we mentioned over the past couple of weeks here, what we're seeing from them, they're bringing in people that have Formula One experience, major Formula One experience with winning organizations. They really seem like they are all in and ready to make a step up in 2016.
Yeah, they're approaching this with a whole different sense than they have before.
Yeah.
And that's great to see.
We're seeing a dedication.
We are. The dedication is there. That's right.
As for Scuderia Ferrari, they want some fans to be in on their car unveiling. A social media campaign under the hashtag #ReadySetRed aims at giving fans points for engaging the most people or entities with said hashtag through Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The deadline has not yet been set, but the top 10 in points accumulated are going to be given the chance to see the unveil in person, possibly actually be an active part in it. Details are somewhat limited at this time. More information can be found at readysetred.ferrari.com/this/all kinds of Italian stuff that I'm not even going to try to butcher. Go to ferrari.com and look up Ready Set Red. Competition for points is now open and goes through February the 7th, which means you'd have to travel to Italy. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, we can do it.
I'm not flying to Italy. Y'all can drop me off at Ireland on the way.
Shove you out with a parachute.
That's right.
Officials in charge of the inaugural Grand Prix of Europe, set to be held in Baku, Azerbaijan, they have had to refute reports that their place on the calendar is in trouble. Reports came out Thursday suggesting the ongoing price drop worldwide in oil is creating a financial crisis in Azerbaijan, could put the event in jeopardy. Spokesman said that the devaluation of their currency used by the country, it's called the manat, M-A-N-A-T, will not have any effect on staging the event. It's going to go on as scheduled on June the 19th. I'm actually looking forward to this. It's kind of a street course. We don't get to see that much in Formula One.
Yeah, we don't get to see that.
Adrian Sutil, who we discussed last week, is suing his former Formula One team, Sauber, for breach of contract, seeking more than €3 million in compensation, is about to be totally out of Formula One. He was the 2015 reserve driver for Williams, but states that he always saw that as a temporary role, seeking a full-time ride in the meantime. Reports state he's close to signing a deal. Speculation has it being in one of two series, the World Endurance Championship or the DTM series. It's a German version of stock car racing. Williams has not announced their new reserve driver at this time, but Sutil apparently is out of open-wheel racing.
See ya.
Venturi Motorsports is making a change to their driver lineup with only 2 weeks left to go before the third race of the FIA Formula E season. Jacques Villeneuve has been let go from the team, according to Venturi officials, quote, by mutual agreement, unquote. Replacing him will be a former Verizon IndyCar Series driver by the name of Mike Conway.
I like that.
We have heard that name on many occasions. Conway actually tested for Venturi before the series' first season, also tested for Dragon Racing, but wasn't given either seat. Conway is now going to be the driver alongside Stefan Sarrazin, so we'll have to see how that works for them in 2 weeks as they move on to South America.
There's always a mutual agreement split when it comes to
I always like
Jacques
how this
Villeneuve.
is. Yes, it's amicable.
Yeah, every time. It's just a mutual thing.
Yeah.
Why don't you just say you hate the guy?
Jacques Villeneuve, you suck. Get out.
Bye-bye.
In NHRA news, FoxSports.com is reporting John Force Racing has signed on veteran crew chief to be the head of Brittany Force's team in 2016. Force is running in the Top Fuel division. Johnson will move over to John Force Racing in order to help her get her first NHRA victory, hopefully this year. Johnson's very well known in the NHRA. He's considered a top engine tuner.
Yes,
so
he is.
This could be a very big deal for Brittany Force.
It could be. I think it will be. Just the name enough right there, knowing what his pedigree, he's definitely going to bring something for her.
Go back and look up his history. He's got quite the history.
Yes, he does.
Laughlin Motorsports has confirmed they're going to be keeping Alex Laughlin. One would assume they're related.
You would think.
In the Pro Stock division, he's going to return for a second season in the Gas Monkey Garage Camaro. We're talking about Gas Monkey all the time here now. And they're going to be running Camaros in the Mellow Yellow Drag Racing Series. Laughlin said that he feels more confident heading into a second season in that series. Quote, the move into Pro Stock class felt a little crazy last year. I had driven a lot of things, and you have to just start getting to where you can slow everything down than actually process what you're doing one step at a time. But now I've been able to gain needed experience for 2016.
Yeah, that move.
I think it's great.
That move for him was nuts last year, but you kind of just saw it as you get a chance to see the interviews and such. It really showed that it was all over the place. But now this year, I think he's approaching it a little bit differently. He's got a little bit of time under his belt.
Well, and again, it goes back to what we have talked about, is keeping things as consistent as you can.
Yes.
And for a driver who is still in the learning process, you give him a year, maybe you give him 2. Alex Bowman had his 2. He wasn't really able to push it, and as we talked about earlier on in the show, and therefore they made the change, so he's out and they bring in a seasoned racer.
Yeah.
In this case, I don't think you're at that level yet. And if he says that he feels like everything has now slowed down for him to the point where he has a better handle on it, you give him 2016 at least. This is only his second year. Give the man a chance. And he's got a good car under him. He's got good sponsorship as well. Because Gas Monkey Garage, say what you want about it, it's kind of a weird show. It's kind of fun sometimes.
It is.
All the little drama off on the side I could do without. Just concentrate on the cars, if you would, please. But it's interesting to watch, and they are very, very well known. It's kind of like Counting Cars. Maybe you're more familiar with that over on the History Channel. It's kind of the same thing. You take a shop that does renovations and custom car work, and then they throw a little drama in on the side, but they do good work, and they're well known around the country. That said, if you want to have Gas Monkey or custom cars do your car, expect to pay through the nose for it.
Oh, you will. Oh, that's no doubt.
Because they're going to pay for sponsorships.
Yes.
This isn't the only sponsorship that they're doing.
No.
We talked about them sponsoring for one race, an Indy 500 car. They've got NHRA. They're doing one other. I want to say it could be actually in the upcoming Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona.
Basically, what Steve is saying is I'm never going to be able to get my car done by them because it's just too
You
much.
can't afford it.
That's right.
I can't afford it.
Well, if we would have hit the lottery, just saying.
What lottery?
Well, the lottery out of state.
Thank you. Very cool stuff here. Congratulations, as we mentioned a couple of weeks ago, to Erica Enders. She has won now the NHRA Pro Stock Championship for 2014 and 2015. Filmmakers who followed her 2014 NHRA Pro Stock Championship going to debut their final cut of that film in Southern California just in time for the NHRA's season opener. Racing in Red is the name of the documentary. It's going to be shown at a movie theater in Pomona, California, just south of the Auto Club Speedway Park, where the 2016 season will begin. The showing is invitation only. I haven't gotten mine.
I'm sorry. I got mine already.
Yeah, I bet you did. The film may then be released on DVD and Blu-ray, but the filmmakers have not said yet.
They need to.
Fans are going to get the chance to win tickets to the event through a Twitter contest to be held February the 4th. Use the hashtag #RacingInRed, and they will say why they should get to go at that point. Meantime, while we focus on Memorial Day weekend being the weekend of major events in Formula One, IndyCar, and NASCAR, NHRA going to get into some of that action as well.
I like it.
The same weekend as the Monaco Grand Prix in Formula One, the Indy 500. Do I need to say what series that is?
No. I don't.
Okay.
Not for me.
And the Coca-Cola 600. The NHRA will be running a big purse sportsman-only event in Bowling Green, Kentucky. It's called the JEGS NHRA Sports Nationals. It'll head back to Beach Bend Raceway Park in south central Kentucky on Memorial Day weekend. It's the largest sportsman-only national event with a reported $108,000 cash purse with bonus races and contingency awards as well. Qualifying in all classes going to take place on Saturday. On Saturday. Elimination for all classes on Sunday. National points will be at stake. Monday is set aside as an as-needed competition day should weather be a factor. I do believe, I haven't seen the full schedule yet, that this is one of those races that Fox Sports 1 is set to carry live. So we'll have Formula One in the morning, likely on NBC, Indy 500 on ABC, the JEGS NHRA Sports Nationals likely on Fox Sports 1, and then that night on Fox Sports, the main network, Fox, the big one.
Yeah, that
not
one.
Fox Sports 1 or 2, Fox.
Or the Ocho.
Have I confused myself yet?
The Ocho.
Yeah, really. They are going to run the Coca-Cola 600. So you want to talk about racing all day?
Yes, you got it. It's all right there.
Swing.
We are happy.
From the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep.
Yeah. And you know what? We get to detail all that.
Yes.
Because that's what we do.
That's right.
So, wow, we actually got through all of that stuff, and we still have a little bit of time left. It's amazing.
Yeah. And this is where you get to lay down on the couch and you get to tell us your thought process real quick. You got 60 seconds, Steve West. Who are you going with for this next year?
I am still doing my level best to try and figure out what I'm going to do. Okay, so
you have till November.
Yeah, I've been a Tony Stewart fan since 1999. Saw him win that race at Richmond, and I went, okay, and I had the chance to meet Joe Gibbs. Okay, that's my guy. Now he's stepping out of the car. You think maybe you would stick with the 14? I'll follow it and I'll root for Clint Boyer, but I've never been that big of a Clint Boyer fan. Things may change over the course of this year. I don't know.
There's always Danica.
No. So I'm still looking at it. I have yet to figure out who it is that I'm going to be rooting for next year.
You got until November to figure it out.
Yeah, thankfully I've got until November to figure it out.
Follow a winner.
By the way, thank you, Tim, for the nice note about Wild Vapors. We appreciate it, and we need to head on out of here. So you guys have a great weekend. Racing is less than a month away.
Oh, yeah. See ya!